Max, thank you so much for joining. We're pleased to have a conversation with you in regards to your projects, what you're doing, and how do you see technology and hospitality in this new wave of AI. For those joining or getting to know you for the first time, tell us a little bit about who you are and what are you doing in these days.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm Max Kunik. I'm in Austin, Texas. I run a company called Wingman Kitchens. We are co-working kitchens or shared kitchen spaces for all kinds of culinary entrepreneurs, whether they're just getting started or they decide they want to have a lifestyle business in kitchens. We provide fully equipped kitchen spaces for them to grow their business at affordable rates. So they can do like 4 hours a month or 140 hours a month or 200 hours a month. And we have different tiered price packages to meet them where they need.
Amazing. How do you get into the hospitality sector? I'm sure you had a point of entry, right? Let's say an artistic drive something artistic that drove you into this, right? Were you from the back of the house, front of the house? How does your journey start?
Yeah, so funny enough, none of that. I'm not an artist, but I love being around artists. So I kind of found myself in different positions, whether it was in college, and I'm sure we'll go into this. In college, post college, I was always around food and food entrepreneurs, and I love eating. And I just wanted to figure out how can I create a business to stay around people that are creating really unique products or really good food, but not necessarily jump into a restaurant or a bar. And this seemed to be like one of the easier entry points for me that I could really manage a business, but also feel like I can give a platform for people that are creating a food or beverage business that are really the artists.
Amazing. So you had a more of a entrepreneurship and instinct into this business, right? Which is a very different story than the common. What did you sense out there? How did you come up with these ideas that this was a need, right? That people were needing, more commercial kitchens.
Yeah, so for me, I used to run a company called Jaime Spanish Village, and we were a salsa and queso company. We sold into different grocery stores, and we had our own kitchen space. And simultaneously, I was running a dinner club that featured all kinds of chefs and restaurants in town. And through the CPG world and the hospitality world, I kept hearing the same thing over and over again: is, hey, do you have extra kitchen space where Jaime's is producing? Uh, we need more kitchen space for our events or for catering or for making a product. And the current spaces that are out there are full. Like, can we use the kitchen that Jaime's is producing out of? And it just wasn't a fit at the time for the owner of the business, who owned Jaime's. And so that was kind of the light bulb moment of, hey, so many people from all these different worlds in food are needing the same exact thing, but the demand is not being met. So I kind of just went to the drawing board, and I graduated with a degree in entrepreneurship from St. Edward's, and use that brain, figured out how to really set up a space, how the business model works, and how it can work in Austin. Because every city is a little different, but Austin with regulations and things like that, and figuring out how all that works. So it just it was a couple-year journey to figure out the right space and the right partners to make sure the space was set up properly. But yeah, it was just really hearing the demand enough times and then diving into it because it was something I really wanted to be a part of.
Love it. So you're now spread in four cities, right? I think it's San Antonio, Houston, Austin, and was it
Missouri
Missouri
City is
or
our
Missouri City?
Missouri City
Right.
is our fourth location. Really, it's in the Houston area. So I say we're in three markets: Houston, Austin, San
Right.
Antonio. But we have five locations, three being in the Houston area.
Okay. So what does certain markets? I mean, you said something about distinctions between markets, right? What defines each market? Let's say, or what trends are you seeing from market to market? If you're observing any trends, right, or separate differences, let's say.
Yeah, yeah. There's stark differences in every city because as you know, being in Miami and being in hospitality for as long as you have, each market and each personality type is just different. And we were ignorant at first, thinking like, oh yeah, people in food are of the same breed. Well, it's not really the truth. In Austin, we're a sharing economy. People have like the ethos that everyone wants to share, and they're super comfortable with sharing. Well, when we moved into the Houston market, in my opinion, Houston is a mature market, but also is a city of immigrants. And immigrants aren't necessarily as willing to share because they've had hardships in the past where they've been wronged, and sharing might not have been very great for them. So we had to really figure out how to massage that in a shared space and to get people to trust that, hey, nobody's trying to steal your recipe. Everyone's trying to create their own business, and maybe you can share certain things with certain people in the kitchen to level each of you guys up, which is it's a big education. It's a big step for people to take because this is their business and it is what they want their livelihood to be. So we're slowly educating the market and telling them this is why shared kitchens are really valuable, but also you have to trust that people aren't going to steal your things, and that, as we kind of know, food people can taste food and reverse engineer it. And so as much as I want you to think that your product is unique, because it is, people people are always going to want to take something that's successful and make it their own. So you just have to kind of understand that can happen, but it might not happen from people in the kitchen. It might happen with people outside the kitchen
Right.
anyway. So
Yeah.
it's gaining that trust. In each market you have to gain trust, and San Antonio is no different. San Antonio, their big trade is it's a big city, small town.
Right.
And everyone seems to kind of know each other in one way or another. And they need to know that other people to make them feel comfortable, which is great. But it's just totally different than the original market that we were in. And there's just little nuances that, as you go into different markets and are starting a different project, that they're just learned, and there's different ways and different ways you have to talk to people in order to sell the same product.
So, as you were, let's say, developing your concept, what was the hardest part early on in your journey? Was it building the facility? Was it getting members? Was it structuring the models? What was really the biggest challenge that you say you encountered throughout the process?
Yeah, the things don't go perfect, and building is the most imperfect thing that I think we've recognized in our journey. And I think we were 4 months delayed, which in the world of building isn't that long, but
Right.
it felt like forever. And then the change orders were killer, and it was a huge learning for us, not having been in front on the construction side of anything. So yeah, building is definitely what continues to be our biggest pain point, and why we're not interested in building facilities anymore, and we really just want to take over second gen spaces because we
Got
can do little tweaks to it, and instead of it taking 6 months, it can take 30 days.
got it.
But yeah, building is the hardest thing that we still have to deal with, because it just seems like as many things as we try and safeguard and go over in the very beginning, something goes wrong.
No, I'm sure that itself has changed your model in a way, right? So now you're looking for spaces that are a bit more, easier or faster turnaround, which is crucial. I mean, it's crucial in the restaurant business, and I'm sure it translates. Going into that, what's the process for you to find members, right? To take advantage of the services and facility that you offer.
Yeah, so we try and go through a couple routes. The first route, which we find is the stickiest route, is meeting people in person and at events. And so we try and go to the lowest hanging fruit, which is farmers markets, and we go
Right.
and meet people there and just kind of talk to them, get to know them a little bit, not really distract them from selling their products, but make sure that they know who we are, give them a little pamphlet, and then ask them to set up time just to talk to us. Because as much as we are trying to sell our product, we're at the end of the day we're just trying to sell ourselves.
Right.
So we try and go and do that. We try and team up with the business development organizations that are already helping small businesses, so that we can maybe teach a class on how to get your food business started with different regulations. Each city, each county has different regulations, and we just want to make sure that everyone's well informed on what they need to do in order to legally run their business. So trying to do that, it seems to be a pretty good pipeline for us, but also a way to engage with the community to build trust. And then third, we're running ads on Meta. It seems to be where the majority of our people are, whether they're on Instagram or Facebook. We're trying to hit them through that source. People Google us, and we rank decent on there, and always trying to improve SEO on that so we can rank higher. But in reality, we're getting a lot of hits on through our Meta ads, and then people will search on Google and find us through there.
Amazing. So it seems like you have a phenomenal runway for people to, let's say, want to, go through the process of proving their concept, right? A proof of concept. I'm curious to see how many people have you witnessed that go through your facilities and evolve into opening a location of their own? I mean, is this a story you see repetitively? I mean, do people understand actually that they have an opportunity to test the market through the enabling the service that you offer? How do you see that evolution?
Yeah, I mean, I think people when they come into our kitchens, they understand that we are their launch pad, or we're
Right.
intended to be the launch pad. We're not supposed to be the forever home. That's not saying that we can't be. And as I said before, we can be the home for a lifestyle business that only needs the kitchen like maybe once or twice a week. So them
Right.
signing a traditional lease doesn't make sense. But yeah, we try and be that launch pad. And I wish I could tell you it's like, oh yeah, 50% of our clients end up going into brick and mortar, or they go and get a co-packer. That's not the reality.
Yeah.
Food is just so hard. And
Fair
so
enough.
I can tell you that in 6.5 years, we've probably seen 10 companies either go into brick and mortar or go into co-packer. Because those are like the two big leaps of getting out of the kitchens. You either go into the brick and
Mm.
mortar space, or you
Right.
get into the co-packer to increase your production. And like, when we see that, we're so happy to see it because it means they've been successful and they've reached the point where they now need it. But I'd say the majority of folks we see like incrementally go up, and I think we're only at the starting point of seeing people really succeed into their own spaces. As we kind of learn more about the needs of our clients, we try and meet those needs and give them different tools when they
Right.
ask for it. Because I think in- inherently most of the folks that are in our kitchen are artists, and artists don't necessarily want help a lot of the time. And when we try and force feed it to them, it does not work. People actually have to want the help in order to to receive it. So I think over time we'll continue to see higher numbers on that. But yeah, I mean, we've probably had close to 200 clients and members over 6.5 years, and seeing 10 of them hit that next level at like a 5% being super successful rate. Uh, it's probably not that far off from what the norm is.
Right. No, yeah. So let's say, why can't most kitchens, or let's say, why can't most businesses, right, related to food, can't, what is it? Why is it impossible to scale from a home kitchen, right? What do you offer that, enables, the business owner to kind of see the big picture, or be able to, potentially reach another level, right, in their business?
Yeah, it's a great question. In the state of Texas, they just loosen laws on cottage law, which is making things at home.
Right.
It's where before you couldn't bake a product and wholesale it to a commercial, like a coffee shop. That wasn't allowed. It was illegal. But
Right.
they loosened the regulations on it, and now you can do that up to
Oh,
$150,000 a year, which is great. But there are still handcuffs to it, and that you can't do any perishable products, no meat
right.
products. And
Mhm.
so you cannot do that at home. It's not legal, and it doesn't really matter which state you're in, unless you have really specific permits, like in California with a MECO license. But even then, you're really regulated on that. So the reason why you go from a home kitchen to a, a shared kitchen space is because of a couple things. One, you've run out of room in your own space. If you're running a food business out of your own house and you have anyone else living in there, all of a sudden your business is taking up all the fridge space and all the kitchen space. There's going to be someone that's unhappy with that setup. And so you might be getting kicked out of there and you need to go and find a space with more room that's really dedicated to like your own food production. So that's one reason. The other reason is we have commercial equipment. So when you're at home, you're baking in just a normal conventional oven, it's going to take a lot longer to make, let's call it 80 cookies, than coming into a kitchen like ours that has 4 convection ovens and you can knock out, and you have a 20-quart mixer in our space and you can knock out those 80 cookies in maybe 2 hours rather than it's going to take you 8 hours at home. So there's
Right.
an efficiency to it as well. So you're going to have more prep space, better equipment to make products at a higher scale, and then you're going to have more storage space to like have your stuff in our cold storage, which is a walk-in fridge, and then be able to use a speed rack to actually push in there. Like there's a lot of efficiencies to really be able to grow your business in a shared space and grow it effectively, because you don't have to commit to long-term leases in a space like ours. You can just commit to like a 3-month minimum agreement, which you can go up and down on your package based on whatever your needs are. So like our lowest package is 140 a month for 4 hours. And so we think that's super feasible as just like an entry point. And then the third reason is like there are regulations. Like let's say you're making dumplings and you want to wholesale them. You have to be in a licensed facility to make a meat product in order to wholesale it. So like,
Yeah.
and even if you're a caterer as well and you're trying to sell, party kits, like, hey, I'm trying to make a whole noodle kit with chicken with it. You have to make it in a licensed facility that is being regulated by your city health department, and then you can sell that out. So like there's certain stipulations where you really need to be in a commercial kitchen space in order to sell your products. Does that make sense?
Yeah, total, of course, 100%. Um, let's say when you open a new location, what's your playbook in a way, right? Meaning, how do you identify the location? Let's say what's your approach in setting yourself in the market? And I know you talked
Yeah,
about a little bit about the recruiting part, but overall, how do you find the right location?
yeah. It takes a long time to find the right location. No location. Um,
Right.
So for us, when we're looking at cities, it's, hey, how many farmers markets does the city have? Because it's usually a pretty good indicator of how many makers there are in a community. And so
Mhm.
if there's one big one, that's great. Or if there's like 5 or 6 smaller ones, that also works. And we want to kind of be central to where those are happening, understanding like, sure, some of these makers might be on the outskirts and then come in for it, but if we know that we're within a certain radius of these farmers markets, we can probably hit a lot of makers. So that's usually where we're basing our search radius on for the actual spaces, and then it's just a matter of going out and talking to people in the market and going into, before we even go into a market, we're talking to people at the farmers markets to see, hey, where are you preparing things now? Do you
Right.
think there's a need? What do you, if we did have a space like that, what do you think your budget would be? And just I wish it was easier to just go out and recruit and find that data and do deep dives in places.
Right.
But in reality, in our world, people, you have to actually go and talk to the primary source, and so that's really what we're doing now, is just going and talking to people, and I think that builds a little trust already. So you're actually
Yeah.
going out to the market and talking to people,
Right.
but it also gives you that list of hopefully 20 potential customers when you go and open the space and be like, hey, we are open. We talked to you, like, no pressure, but at least come and see the space.
Yeah. Yeah, love it. Well, it seems like you have an organic way to kind of setting yourself in the community and also kind of tying the community together. I'm sure that once you visit some of these farmers markets, people are inquiring you, right? It gets to the point where people want to no more maybe. How do you find, are we do you think we're at the point where the needs are being covered, or is there room for scaling your business even more?
Yeah, I'd say depending on the market.
Mhm.
In Austin, I feel like the needs are being covered. And I say that because we probably have close to 30,000 square feet of shared kitchen space in Austin. And that
Mhm.
seems like enough to where we've kind of plateaued on where we think we can go, which is perfectly fine. We're very happy with where we're at in the market and who we're servicing. But we as a company don't think it's worth expanding in this city more. Whereas Houston, a city of 4 million plus people, there's only about 10,000 square feet of shared kitchen space, and it's more than quadruple the size of Austin.
Wow.
And there's way more food entrepreneurs in Houston. They just might not be on your Instagram feed as much.
Got it.
So it's just like, again, it's finding where the market's at, and how do we find spaces that suit their needs. And then
Right.
we feel the same way about San Antonio, city of a million people, but shared kitchen space. There's only 3,000 square feet of shared kitchen space right now in San Antonio. So there's still so much more uh, to be had in San Antonio, and San Antonio is a city of makers and always has been. And so it's just meeting people where they are and figuring out how to best serve them. So I think in San Antonio for us, it's probably opening another location on a different side of town
Right.
to meet more people where they're at.
Mhm. So, talking a little bit about technology, are you an AI, let's say, adopter, or are you more in the skeptic side of AI? And if you're an adopter, how are you using it on your day to day?
Yeah, definitely not a skeptic. It's the future when we look at where people are coming from our searches or from when they're filling out our inquiry form. Probably about 20% are coming from an LLM telling them, "Hey, Wingman Kitchens is is an option for you." Fortunately, we need it to get a lot smarter because these people that are using ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever, Perplexity, whatever it is,
Yeah.
they come up with a set of questions that's then emailed to me, which means they haven't actually gone on our website. Because it's if they would have just done one more query
One
on
more
it,
click, yes.
yeah, then they
They would
would have been
answer.
able to search all the different things. So,
Right.
we're really trying to figure out where AI can come into play for us more. We use Lindy for a little bit of we have it scrape the internet to find us leads, and then we do reach out to them through either email or Instagram. And then we're using different technology. We use HoneyBook right now for our CRM, and there's some AI in there that we're scripting and making us more efficient on that side. And then we're just trying to figure out different agents that we can build in order to make some of our lives easier in all of our systems. And I think we'll probably be using more and more agents to make custom things for us. So maybe at some point we don't have to use different SaaS tools and we can just build them ourselves custom, and it'll probably save us money in the long run. So I think we're just scratching the surface, and we've gotten to a point where that me and my partners have agreed that we probably need to hire what we're going to call like a chief optimization specialist, just to keep us, kind of cutting edge on that end, but just constantly building agents and things to make our lives easier. Because I know how to run my business and I know the things that we need, but I haven't quite mastered the prompting, and even when I do prompt it right and work 3 hours on an agent, I have like maybe a 10% success rate of it working. And it's really frustrating to spend that much time on something and then it's kind of a dud. So I need a little bit more coaching on my end, and I think us hiring someone to do that will help me, and then they can just kind of educate our team on the tools that they're building.
Yeah. And so you're using bots, and you're kind of thinking about how to potentially optimize your operation, um, and you're already using tools. Where do you think that AI may create the biggest impact, right? How from let's say examining your business, um, what part or pillar of your business you think that AI could potentially, build or let's say create the most impact?
Yeah, from right now, so I know you say which side, but I think there's like two things that I think it's going to create the most impact for. And the first thing is the funnel. So just like
Mhm.
understanding who our customers are, telling us how to market to them, and then implementing that strategy with then being plugged into like whatever custom CRM that we're building or that. Like I think AI is gonna have a very big part in. And
Yeah,
then on the back end, we use a tool right now to manage the kitchens and for kitchen bookings and all that. But I think we're going to be able to build our own at some point and utilize that to really level up our service.
right. Excellent. Do you think that uh, you know w- what stage of this AI adoption are we overall in hospitality? Do you think that we're in the beginning stages, or uh, adoption hasn't even started, or we're midway through it?
Yeah, I mean, hospitality as well as I know hospitality, probably a bit more. Hospitality is going to be amongst the last to fully integrate with AI. And so I think we're starting to, but we're at the very very beginning of it. There's so many things and so many tools that people have been using for POS and scheduling and all these things for such a long time, and they're probably like three decades behind even what the best POS technology was last year before AI really hit. So it's going to take a long time for it to all catch up, but you'll start seeing these players that are adopting it early and hopefully making their lives easier on in the kitchen side and on the front of house side, and hopefully that makes adoption a lot faster. But man, I don't think it'll be fast.
I have to agree with you. I think it's going to be a slow process, and it'll be a generation. Let's say to that we will need a generation to change. Let's say. Um, so overall, I would say, um, where do you see the future of AI overall? I know it's a broad question, but do you think that AI is going to impact humanity in a positive way, or do you think that before we get there, there will be, catching up to do, or let's say regulation to understand? How do you see AI, transitioning, or the transition of AI, of us, humanity, into AI?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty optimistic that it's going to have a net positive. We're going to go through bumpy stretches. I'm very confident that the job market we're going to lose a lot of jobs because of it. But
Right.
I'm hopeful that we're going to gain jobs because it's creating more things. 'Cause yes, it's making things more efficient, but then it's creating more opportunities and just like every kind of technology bubble. I'm not saying that this is a bubble, but it just you lose and you win. And so I'm not saying that life's going to be infinitely better. Life is going to change,
Right.
and you're going to have to understand how it changes and how to take advantage of it. But at the end of the day, the things we are humans, and just like with food, people still we came out of the pandemic thinking that virtual kitchens and ghost kitchens were going to be the next big thing. It's like, hey, this is where we're going. But I think what we realized coming out of the pandemic is people still need people.
Hmm.
People are community, and human nature means that we need to be hanging out and being and interacting in person. And it's just I don't think that that's going to go away. And so I
Right.
think there's still going to need to be human connection in business and in real life and your personal life. Like we're not going away and AI is not going to be able to make us go away. I'm hopeful that AI will make our lives easier to where we can really do what each of us want to do and
Right.
excel in that. And that way we can kind of really learn everything that we want to learn at a much easier pace. And it's going to learn about us and maybe make us healthier by making healthier choices and making healthier choices easier. So
Yeah.
I'm hopeful on that, but you just never know. We're gonna take wrong turns because that's just how humans are. We make mistakes, and AI is gonna make mistakes because humans are still the ones that are coding it.
Yeah.
And even now, you'll do a prompt and it's doing so well and it's an agent's killing it, and then all of a sudden you've overloaded it and it can't handle. And that'll get better, but a human's not that different. It's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I'm really good at this for a long time, and then you put too much information in. It's like, I think I'm doing too many things. I'm overloaded. I need to take a little break.
Yeah. No, you got a incredible point. Yeah, and I'm with you 100% on that. Um, it might bring the productivity to a point where we're able to then invest more time in community and more time in, like you said, in our personal evolution, right, or learning new things. Do you think that this will, I it's like you said with COVID. I think that we went through that crunch. People lost their jobs, and you saw a spark in creativity, right? More makers. Do you think that there might be an opportunity where there's going to be more people saying, then I'm going to try to, become a maker, or uh, build my own brand? How do you see that playing out, like in your business, right? Or affecting your
Yeah.
business?
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of always said with shared kitchen spaces, until robots are fully making all of our food, which I don't see ever happening, we're
That's
going to have a business because people still love eating, and everyone's had the best sauce for generations and generations. And so that's not going to stop. And so we still think that people are going to want to be creative and do their thing. Now I just think with AI, it's going to be easier to create your own brand. But I also think in the same breath, kind of what we saw from coming out of the pandemic is a lot of people wanted to start their own business, but then a lot of people but then we came to kind of a reckoning and realizing not everyone's built to own their own business. It's definitely a mindset. You have to be willing to take risks, and it's not for everyone. Being an entrepreneur seems sexy from the outside, but then when you're on the inside of it, you're riding a roller coaster and just trying to hold on. I mean, I'd say the large majority of people aren't built for it, and sometimes I look inside and like, is this really the journey that I want to be on? So I think we're gonna have infinite opportunities. It's just a matter of how people take advantage of it or decide that they're just going to use it to be an entrepreneur or improve their workflows inside the companies that they're working.
Amazing, Max. Well, listen, it's been super enjoyable. I really appreciate you coming in and sharing a little bit about yourself, your business, and your insight in technology. For those that want to maybe reach out in your your markets, where's the best way to kind of contact you and know more about the services you offer?
Yeah. So first, check out our website, wingmankitchens.com. We try and be as transparent as possible on there. We're not trying to hide fees or anything, and we tell you everything that you kind of need. And then for additional questions, or if you just want to reach out because you've got questions, feel free to email me at info@wingmankitchens.com. Go straight to me and my cell phone. Happy to answer any questions you might have, or if you're trying to test out some kind of product that might be for the hospitality world, we're a breeding ground for them. So I'm happy to entertain that and see how we can team up to do that.
Amazing. Well, thank you again, Max, and we'll see you again shortly or soon.
All right, great. Thanks, Alexander. Have a
All
great
right.
one.
You too.